Guys, welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Mariah.
And I'm Spencer.
And we are a top producing husband and wife real estate team here in Oregon. And today I'm going to be asking Spencer a handful of commonly asked home seller questions. So if you are...
Nice.
Yes, very nice. So if you are thinking about putting your home on the market this spring, this summer, or anytime soon, no matter when you are watching this video, then be sure to listen in until the very end. These are things you're going to want to know.
Brief side note. So we just had an individual here in our home taking window measurements. If you don't have window coverings, go get them someday. We had it done today. And the topic of real estate definitely gets brought up.
Yeah.
And I say, you know what? I want something that's good, not the best, blah, 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 just to give her an expectation of my resale value. And while we were talking about real estate, she says, I'm an ex-realtor from a different state. And I said, oh, wow, that's great. What do you think's going on? And she says she believes it's going to go up and only be a great seller's market. That's very encouraging because I didn't tell her what the market was doing. She never asked me what's going on. She's in people's houses every day. This is her job, doing window, blinds, curtains, whatever you name it, measurements. And she knows what sellers are thinking. She personally has been in the industry. That was encouraging to me to hear her prediction, her philosophy. And she mentioned one key word I loved, and that was sellers. Why it's going to be a great seller's market, even though we have high inflations, even though the banks are collapsing. She was excited because she knows that there's power in real estate and there's power in ownership, in that you can do things if you're a seller and get lots of equity.
Yeah, that's
Who gets
true.
lots of equity? Excuse me.
Who gets that? A lot of people have a lot of equity right now, which is why right now is a really great time to sell, because we are a very equity rich market, especially in Oregon. I'm pretty sure, I can't remember what the exact statistic was, but I know Oregon was one of the top states this last year that grew as far as equity goes. So that's really good news if you're a home seller. So jumping into these questions here. All right, Spencer, are you ready?
I'm ready. This is fun.
Okay, this is a good one. What is the best time of year to sell a house?
I love this question, and it's because I get it often while I'm on a listing appointment. Everybody assumes spring. Everybody assumes early May, early April to sell their property because it's going to be a seller's market, the gold rush, people jumping from school to school. It'll be the right time then. Well, statistically speaking, okay, for my personal sales, for our record-breaking months, for our average sales price numbers when we get closed volume units, year over year, generally it tends to be towards the end of the year. So whether that's August, September, October, November closings, my record months is usually going to be sometime in late October, early November. And these are for closed units. So these are people that have had their home on market in 45 days from that closing date. They got an accepted offer. So is it technically the spring market? Yes, it's a good time to jump in and feel it out. And usually you do get a good wave of buyers that are more serious. But think about this. Who wants to go show a home in the cold rain when fall is hitting and the leaves are on the ground? The landscaping's a mess. There's mud everywhere. The serious buyers. The real serious buyers are out there in those markets. That's usually from like when I'm working with buyer clients is that's their expectation. I'm here right now. It's dark outside. Time has changed. I got to get there. It's 5 p.m. and it's dark outside. This is not fun for me. And they're more serious during that time of year. So I would say the best months to sell, more of the story is going to be, I'd say August, September, October, November. Those are my favorite closing months and our best closing months.
I like that answer. It's very true, though, that in the fall and winter months, you will likely have less showings as a seller than if you listed your home in spring and summer. However, you're going to have serious buyers, like every single buyer. Not to say that the buyers that come in spring and summer aren't serious, but they're looking at so many different houses because there's a lot more competition for you as a seller and there's just less options for them. So there's definitely pros and cons, no matter when you decide to list your house. But I wouldn't say if it is, the middle of winter and this is the time that works best for you, I wouldn't say to hold off just because of a selling season, because I know Personally, we've sold our own primary residence days before Thanksgiving and made a great profit from it. And we've also helped many sellers themselves sell their homes, right before Christmas or, right in the middle of the time of year when you might say it's a bad time to sell. We've helped them make a really great profit from their home. So I wouldn't think too much into that.
When dealing in an equity-rich market like we've been in for so long now, it's like I'm getting kind of sick and tired of hearing that or saying that statement myself.
Yeah.
But it's so true. I mean, everybody, if you're a seller, generally you're having more equity in your property. And what really helps you out with that is the inventory, the amount of inventory. So your competition, say there's nobody 2 blocks away from you selling their house. I'd say that's a very good advantage point based off in another time of the year, there might be 3 or 4. Because A, it's going to give you more problems when it comes to your pricing competitively. Because I guarantee if there's one 10,000 or the same price but more square footage, I'm probably going to go with that home. So the competition rate is just by far different in some times of the year. And that's something people do got to realize, but also what works best for you.
Definitely.
Do you have patience? Do you got time? Do we need to move? Do we want to move? Do we have another home under contract elsewhere in another state? We got deadlines to make. That's solely up to you guys, our audience, the viewers.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that come into play for sure. Okay, so before we get to the next question now, real quick, we get calls, texts, and emails from people who like you, who are watching our YouTube videos all the time, and we absolutely love it. So if that's you, if you are someone who's watching this video and you are thinking about selling your home or buying a home and are relocating to Oregon, we would love to work with you. Feel free to reach out. I will put our contact information in the description below. Okay, so how long will it take for my house to sell?
Well, that's a great question. Is average days on market have been going up. For instance, I just put out a listing 2 days ago. Well, if this was 5-6 months back, maybe even 8 months back, I'm getting multiple calls, multiple showings. I'm probably expecting this thing to be under contract by the end of this week. So that means 5 days on market. I should probably have an offer at least, but multiple offers in my hand based off the pricing strategy we've gone. Well, I'm 2 days into this listing, and I've had one email about it and not much activity like I was expecting to have. But guess what? Online views are terrific. That tells me either buyers are just wanting to stay at home, they're unsure about the market, the banks are collapsing. Remember this stuff. Everything's going through the back of the buyers' heads. Is it a good time or not? Now, watch. Here in about 10 days from now, 12 days from now, we will have the showings, we will have multiple viewings, and we will have the activity that this home deserves. It really does deserve. So what I am saying right now, though, is expect a little bit more of a delay when you first get your home listed. It's just anticipated now, and that's something that we as brokers need to be educating you guys as the sellers is it's okay to sit maybe 5, 7, 10. In my case, I believe I'm going to be on for like 12 days. But average days on market have gone up. In different areas, they're different. Here specifically, I would say we're going to be at about 64 days on market before that's beginning to close. Okay, 64 days, the total process. Get my home for sale, sign in the yard. Sign on paper, I get paid in my account. 64 days. That's a pretty good turnaround number for the average sale amount being $400 plus $1,000. I mean, come on. Technically, $436,000 is our average sales price. But that's a lot of money. That's a great chunk of coin in 64-day turnaround. Unbelievable.
I agree. And keep in mind, this house that he's talking about, this listing, is not a $900,000 house, which in our market generally is going to sit a little bit longer no matter what. This is in a general first-time buyer price range that should be the most competitive. So that definitely speaks to what's going on. But I also will add, while we're on the topic of this, that if we're comparing how long houses are sitting on market right now, because they definitely are sitting longer, but they are still selling. But if we're comparing how long they're sitting to the pandemic and right just after, when we've had this crazy real estate market where homes were selling so fast before you could even go see it oftentimes, then it does feel like they're sitting for an eternity. Let's just remember that just before 2020, back in 2018, 2019, homes were sitting even longer than they are right now in many cases. And this was totally normal. No one thought a single thing about it. It was normal to have a listing for, 3 months or so, not a lot of activity, and it wasn't a big deal. We didn't think it was just normal. And so the moral of the story is, don't get too stressed if your home isn't selling in a week. It will sell. I promise you, just not selling in a day like it was
and
last year.
Put that on us, though. Let us give you the feedback. Let us give you that routine call, the follow-up call of, hey, this is what I'm seeing. This is what's going on. Let us be maybe that insurance you're needing, because Mariah's exactly right. When your home is on market, it feels like eternity.
So
And you're like, what do I do? Do I need to get a price reduction? Especially if we're in a contingency spot, meaning you need to sell in order to buy your next place. Man, that stuff becomes stressful. And so your broker, real estate agent, that's kind of their duty. That's their job, is to be doing the check-ins, but also the selling part. We need to make sure we're getting good showings happening for you so we don't become stale and stagnant. That's the good agent versus the bad agent.
How do you come up with an accurate price for my house?
Oh, I love it. So CMAs, they're so fun for me because I get to do them without ever walking into the home, and then things might change after I walk in the home from the listing appointment. But how I generally do it is I have a website that I like to use, but then I use two different methods. I use the MLS system, the home's located, but then also a general real estate system that realtors buy into and pay for. That's preferred. It's more of an appraisal site. So I get two methods to do it, so then I can compare apples to oranges, which one's the most accurate. And then maybe I missed a home that's in your radius. And I say radius because of this. I do a 0.5 mile radius around your house. That's a long ways. I mean, half a mile is a long ways. That's a lot of blocks. So imagine all the houses you're in. There's a lot of heads that are there. So we do that, but then I compare it to bedroom sizes, square footage, and then lot sizes, obviously. What's doable? Because if you're living in a 3-bed, 1-bath, it makes you no good to do a 4-bed, 2-bath in a comparison. Because, just the additional bath, but also having multiple bedrooms differed from you. It's kind of night and day differences. On top of that, what are you, a single story or double story? Now, if your neighbor has those similar characteristics, that shows me neighborhoods. Yeah. So I want to stay within the same neighborhood. That's why I do that 0.5 mile. But like I said, 0.5 miles away, that could be a completely different neighborhood. Yeah. So if I can't find any comparables that are directly in your proximity, I'm going to go, as we call, an arm's length away. I'm going to just go that arm's length away to another neighborhood. That's that 0.5 mile radius I'm talking about. And from there, now I'm looking through old listing photos. Maybe I'm doing a drive-by, and then I'm calling the listing agent and saying, hey, what did this actually sell for? Were there closing costs being performed or done by the buyer or seller during this transaction? And from there, I'm taking all my notes into my CRM system, comparative market analysis, and going from there. And that gives me a really good idea of what your home's worth before I'm even stepping in. And it's very important and crucial because you'll call 5 different agents, 3 different agents. You'll get listing appointments with them all. And sometimes prices are all scattered over the place. Yeah. But if you get 2, 3 agents with somewhat of the same price, that tells me that's where your category is going to be and your sales price is going to fall upon. If you can get people that give you multiple CMAs at a similar price, that's where you're going to probably fall within. And it's wise to probably go with one of those 3 brokers.
That's a good answer. And also, just to add, it's important to know that at the end of the day, the brokers give our best opinion, our most honest, educated opinion on what we think it should sell for or would sell for. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it is up to you what you list your home for. That is your choice as the home seller. And that being said, something I've seen sellers do in the past is choose the agent. Say they're interviewing 5 agents. They choose the agent that has the highest sale price. Maybe because they just don't know exactly how things work, or that just felt the best to them. So they're like, yeah, you're going to sell it for the most. But that's not how it works. A lot of times inexperienced real estate agents will give you unrealistic high price or just tell you what they think that you want to hear to try to win the listing. So don't make that mistake. Make sure that you really are aware that it's up to you. Your agent can recommend a price, but it's up to you at the end of the day what you end up listing it at. And just because a broker recommends a price doesn't mean that's actually
And here's the deal. I've actually walked away from sellers when I'm getting set unrealistic sales prices.
Yeah.
That's the type of agent I am.
Yeah.
I'm not here just to take another listing, gain one in my pocketbook, and then it goes expired 3 months down the road because, I just wanted to do something and fill out paperwork for no reason. There are times where I got to choose to walk because I am the professional. I'm not all pumping my chest holy and mighty, but like at the same time, I have to understand my worth, and then you have to understand your worth. And if we can meet in the middle and have actual reasoning and strategy, maybe we start at your price.
Yeah.
Here's a deal. 2-3 weeks away from now, if no one comes in or we only get X amount of views, looks, whatever, we go down to this price. If you're okay with that, okay, now we got a workable relationship. But that stuff never happens until we actually successfully get through the listing appointment. And it's very important, though, because if you are overpricing your home, and I can tell you this, right now is super important. If you're overpricing your home, it's not going to benefit you. It will not help you at all.
Yeah.
In fact, it's only going to hurt you. You're going to have more price reductions.
Yeah.
You're going to have lowered activity. People are going to wonder what's wrong.
Yes.
And then your broker is going to move on to their other sales that they may be taking at higher listings.
Yeah.
And then they don't even manage you anymore. And that's the hard part. When you get sponsorship or marketing that's not beneficial for the other side, now we got a bad promoter. And I always relate our business to promotion. How can I promote the best fight? How can I promote excitement in the air to get people through your front door? That's important to me.
What happens when you decide to just say, because a lot of sellers will think, well, let's just start high and see what happens. But the reason why you really don't want to do that is because what happens is the majority of buyers, the most amount of buyers that are going to see your home are going to see it when it first hits the market. Mm-hmm. And when you start high, maybe you'll have a few showings and then you'll end up putting it on the market for a while, and then you're going to have to do a price reduction. The longer it is on the market, the more buyers are going to start to assume there's definitely something wrong with it. Or they'll just start to think that they can make a really low offer. We see this all the time as someone who works with a lot of buyers, especially out of state relocation buyers. I see this so often where if the home has been on the market for a significant amount of days or longer than usual, we will make a low offer, or they won't even want to look at it because they'll assume there must be something wrong with it being on the market this long, when in reality, they just started really high and ended up having to do a price reduction, and that cost them time. So it's definitely not always the best to start high. We can't always lower the price, but it's not always the best strategy. Should I make repairs before listing my home?
That's always a tough one because every home's in different condition.
Yeah.
Every home is different in its own stance. So like depending on your neighborhood, depending on your year build, depending on the actual repair needed, also is when I recommend to do the repair or not do the repair. And
there's a difference between repair and something that's just cosmetic. I would say if it's a repair that's something that you know is going to be brought up on the inspection report, I would probably say in most cases, it's better to look into doing that. If it's cosmetic, then I would say probably not.
And usually, you mentioned the word cosmetic.
Yeah.
That's where like it aggravates me when I'm asked this question. And the reason is this.
What?
They've asked another broker, and that broker previously told them they have to do this in order for their home to sell.
Yeah.
In order for them to be doing this, like replacing carpet or painting this wall or replacing countertops to match a different one's color, all of these things are opinion-based. Honestly, it's all opinion-based. But I can't tell you if you do this repair, your home's going to sell at this price. And I don't have that crystal ball. I don't have that buyer in the back of my pocket saying, you know what, I really want a red wall and not a blue wall. If it's red, I'm going to pay $10,000 more. That's the hard part of that question. And I've seen it. Don't cut this off. I've seen this because sellers have wasted tens of thousands of dollars on flooring, for instance. Well, they got some of the cheapest flooring they could get. Maybe it was waterproof, vinyl, whatever. Didn't fit the home. Didn't match any of the coloring. But the broker told them to replace it, and they'll sell at a higher price. Guess what? I'm the expired listing specialist that walks in, saves the day, usually gets that sold, but it's not at the price the first broker promised them. And that's a problem with me. That's why I get a little irritated.
No, that's true. That's good. Okay, so the moral of the story is, let's have your real estate professional come out and take a look at the home. We'd love to come out and look at the home and give you a evaluation on what we think based off of your home, because every situation is going to be so different and every home is going to be so different. But don't over update.
Don't over update.
Don't over update before you sell,
Seriously,
because it's probably not going to be worth it. Get a
if
good
you want to
cleaning,
update,
declutter.
maybe update it before you sell it. So move into your property, update it, get it to where you want it, live in it for a couple of years, then sell it. Maybe touch up some paint. If you need a guy, I got one.
Yes. Okay. Should I use a real estate agent or should I try to sell on my own? Because I really want to save money and just get the most out of this sale.
Let's talk statistically, because I work with for sale by owners, expired listings. I get cold calls saying, Spence, can you come list my house? Statistically, dealing with for sale by owners, so this is that category I believe that question follows under, is they don't want to pay a commission. There's always a commission cost involved when a seller is wanting to sell their home. That's up to you and I to talk about. And then I give you a seller's estimated net sheet, what you're going to profit after the sale with a commission involved, then you make the choice. The reality is we end up making you more money, and here's why. We market it to tens of thousands of more buyers than you could ever imagine. That's why I'm at Berkshire Hathaway. That's why we pay for the great promotional tools we do. It's for you guys, our sellers.
Yeah.
So the brokers maybe at our company, we make by far more sales than other brokers or agents in another company. That's rule number one. But secondly, we're going to get your home sold in a shorter amount of time. You look at this statistically, it lines up. And then testimonial wise, go to our website, go view them. Yeah. I have plenty for sell by owner reviews saying, that's true. Man, I was trying to sell my house for months. I couldn't ever get a buyer, or I got plenty of buyers, but they kept backing out after day 30, wasting your time, wasting your money, wasting your house that was supposed to be rented out and never could. Yeah. So we got problems there when you don't have real representation. Legally, you need to have representation. Yes. You're dealing with the biggest transaction in your life. Yeah. This isn't a $40,000 car. It's not. This isn't a $2,000 gun. This isn't a $20,000 toy that you just bought on a Saturday to go dooning in. This is a residential home you and your family are trying to sell maybe for retirement. Yeah. Who knows your circumstances? But what I'm trying to say is representation is so important in any real estate transaction you do. Yes. Now, you might have a lawyer. That's fine. Go get a lawyer. Go try that route. Go pay them a flat fee. But once it doesn't happen, now we can go and start the real selling process that's proven to work time after time. I'm not in the expired listings business. I'm not into that. I'm into getting homes sold for you to put coin in your pocket. And that's one of the best things in the world that Mariah and I get to do day after day. And what year are you on now, Mariah?
Year 8, I believe.
Year 8. I mean, starting as an 18-year-old, that's a pretty amazing thing to do. Knowing the percentage of brokers that go out of business in the first 3.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so the last question. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You're answering these so well. So much good information here.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. What do you do for me when you list my home for sale? Basically, why should I work with you? What separates you from other agents or your company from other companies that you are going to do for me differently? Why do I want your services? Why do I want to call you?
I'm not going to delude to say I just answered that, but
you
look at the last 4
minutes
minutes of this video, guys, as to why you need a real estate agent. If that wasn't good enough, go replay it. Yeah. It was about 3 minutes ago, maybe. I don't know. But Mariah can maybe put that clip in the video. But I encourage you to rewatch and listen to that answer and realize how valuable we could be for you and create an amazing asset to be on part of your selling team for or with.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. We come on here every single week with real estate advice. So if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Head over to our channel. We have all kinds of playlists that could bring you value if you are thinking about buying or selling soon. And we will see you guys next week.